Next.
That's a big.
Yeah, it's the big red box that we did at the very beginning. So, product certification is our second contemporary issue for consumer law. We have to identify and investigate the contemporary issues. Oh, and Rayleigh's taking a phone call. Involving the protection of consumers and evaluate the effectiveness of legal and non-legal responses to these issues. I'm just going
to... All these issues we're looking at is something that we can write about.
Yes. Here we go. So, product certification, essentially what we are looking at is product safety.
Product safety, woo! It's all about product
safety. It's all about. So product certification is all about product safety.
Oh yeah. Yes, getting high.
The law requires that certain products be certified. That means they pass certain tests, reach certain standards, or get some sort of stamp of approval in order to be sold. Why? Because we're worried about product safety. Okay, so what are we looking at when we're looking at safety criteria? We're looking at performance of the product, the composition, so what it's made up of or its contents, the method of the manufacture or processing, the design, construction, finish, and the packaging or labelling. So let's look at the law. Product safety is covered by Part 3-3 of Australian Consumer Law. Pressing buttons on different machines. Hang on. Here we go. The Commonwealth Government has the authority to set mandatory safety standards. For example, when it comes to aquatic toys, we've talked about that before. They usually say, you know, this is not a life-saving flotation device, only used with parents around. Basketball rings and backboards, especially those freestanding ones that could fall over and crush the kid. Blinds, curtains and window fittings. This one's actually quite a big deal. I think I'm going to talk about it a little bit further down, but children have been strangled by blinds, with the strings that hang down and things like that. Sorry, is it? Oh my God, okay. There you go. It's the next sentence in the book. Oh, okay. Bunnings gave an undertaking to the ACCC in September 2013 about non-compliant matchstick blinds. This might seem silly, but at the beginning of 2014, 2 toddlers died within a week of each other by being strangled by blind cords. Not sold by Bunnings, but it just shows that these safety standards actually mean something. Okay, the government can also issue mandatory information standards. So certain information has to be given out to certain products. I'm just trying to think of an example off the top of my head. What's something you've bought and it's had a sticker on it or something saying, you know, don't do this or do that? Like
a choking hazard?
Yeah, okay, this could be a choking hazard. Lego, don't tread on this in the middle of the night. I've never heard of anyone actually doing that in real life. You always see it in little cartoons and things like that.
I've stepped on Lego.
Did it hurt? Okay. My kid picks up his Lego. He's a good boy.
I've had Lego.
Okay. Despite all of everything, it is not 100% illegal to sell unsafe goods. There is no agency that does safety tests on every product before it gets sold because this would be so expensive and difficult, time consuming as well. All the law does is it allows the ACCC to set certain safety standards for certain products. It bans false and misleading representations. Basically, if you say it's safe and it's actually not, only then is there a real problem because you lied. Example, ACCC and Woolworth. Woolworths. Woolworths was selling faulty deep fryers that were causing burns. They paid $3 million in fines for lying about how safe they were, not necessarily just paying the fines because the customers were getting hurt. You spelled safety wrong, or I did?
No, me.
Okay.
I didn't have after that though. And then I had a fight with Jen.
Stop your lies, Indy.
No, I actually did have a fight with her and I got him
Triggered.
Okay.
She dogs me up.
Ladies, if certain products are thought of or found to have breached specific safety standards, there are a number of remedies for society that are usually ordered by the minister. There are safety warning notices. This might be unsafe, we're investigating. There can be compulsory recalls of products. The old buoyancy compensators that were taken off the market because they didn't do their job. There can be interim or temporary or permanent bans placed on products. For example, hoverboards, we looked at that the other day. And the usual infringement notices, court enforceable undertakings and civil court cases.
Anyone know if Miss Snell's here today? Yeah, she is. She literally came up to the door.
So, unsafe products are always going to be available. The chances of getting caught are low enough to mean that it's still profitable. When the new law started in 2011, what's the new law that started in 2011?
No comment.
Cricket noises.
ACL, Australian Consumer Law. Australian Consumer Law. The ACCC conducted a national product safety surveillance program. It had to remove 95,000 unsafe products from sale and issued 100 warning notices. Yet there are still unsafe products out there. For example, national recall after rusty nails, broken glass, medical waste were found in a Spalding punching bag. So, you know, the big bags that yeah, well, they split one of them open and they found some very unsafe products inside.
Nice.
Was it a dead body?
No.
Oh, rusty nails, broken glass, and metal.
That's fucking bored.
Oh, Indy. That was Indy. Okay. Fair trading can also prosecute cases and is often successful in doing this in the local court. For example, fair trading versus Bayo Cunlin, Smart Dollar. He's the guy at Parramatta Westfields who has the unsafe toys and does it all the time. This guy kept selling dangerous banned toys in Westfield Parramatta. I just said all that. The toys were not compliant with minimum safety standards and he ended up with $27,000 in fines.
What toys did you sell that were unsafe?
Lots. Like he did it over and over again. So like, you know, things where things would break off and become choking hazards, like they weren't well made, well constructed toys. Was I not paused again? God, I hope not. Okay, done. Oh, except now I'm not done. Okay, so there are two things on here, those panic buttons, they go with things that are on your supplementary clips. I think I just accidentally recorded over what I said before, so sorry about that, but you can read it. Very clever. Okay.
Are you recording?
I am now. I think I did something stupid. Anyway, there are questions about whether the product recall system we have in Australia is actually working properly, because back in 2013, 144,000 Samsung washing machines were recalled. Over 2 years later, 45,000 of them had still not been located. This means that a third of the people who bought very dangerous product that could set fire to their houses did not return them. Some of them were just taking their chances, but given it costs Samsung a lot to replace them or compensate the customers, they have an incentive not to try and find them not to try that hard to find them. After 4 years, 85% had been recovered, but that meant there was still thousands that hadn't been found. And I think I've told you guys before, my friend's house caught fire with the Samsung washing machine. Have we done all the colours?
Yeah.
I have a Samsung phone and I love her. Oh, and I've got a clip, of course, attached to it. So excuse me for a sec. Pause. I'll put it on the clips.
Up to the red bar.
Okay, we're attempting to. Okay, so in 2017, let me just flick the screen, after 23 overseas deaths and 1 death in Australia from exploding Takata airbags, the ACCC issued a voluntary recall of 1.7 million cars. However, in 2018, the ACCC had to order a mandatory recall because manufacturers like Ford, General Motors, Holden, Audi and Tesla knew the airbags were in their cars but did not recall them. The car industry said that there wasn't any evidence that another 800,000 cars had faulty airbags, so they decided not to recall them. You know, take their chances because recalls are expensive. The fact that the ACCC had to, it should be 1, 2, 3. This one version says 111. Okay, number 1, tell the car makers what they already knew, that airbags can kill. 2, tell the public which cars the manufacturers decided to recall. And then 3, force the manufacturers to recall all the cars possibly affected is a sign that businesses will often only do the right thing when forced. I had a car that was recalled under this. To fix it, I just had to take it into the dealer and I got it back later that day. Like it was a problem that could be solved. It's not like they took the cars and destroyed them. They just had to remove the airbag that was there and replace it. Okay. I think, yep, and we've got a clip. Sorry, I'll attach it. Lots of clips today. Recording and go. So we're going to look at an area of law reform now, just very quickly. So law reform, country of origin labelling. So this has happened quite recently here in Australia. So types of food covered by the standard. The standard is something that applies to most food offered for retail sale in Australia if it is in a package. If it's unpackaged seafood, particular meats, fruit and vegetables, nuts, spices, herbs, fungi, legumes, seeds, or a mix of these foods, or fresh fruit and vegetables in transparent packaging. What happens is businesses may voluntarily choose to provide country of origin information for food that is exempt to the standard, provided it is not false or misleading. However, if a business wishes to use the kangaroo logo or the bar chart on food products to be sold in Australia, they'll be required to comply with the standards regarding the use of those graphics. So you can see on the screen there, you've got the made, is it in your book too? Yeah, it's also in your book. Made in Australia from 100% Australian ingredients, produced in Australia, made in Cambodia, packed in Australia from at least 8% Australian ingredients. In your book, you've got a few more. Made in Australia, ingredient sources vary, average 59% of Australian ingredients. I can't read that number. Made in Israel from at least 90% Australian ingredients. Produced in Australia, at least 9% Australian ingredients. So basically, you have to show if something is not wholly made in Australia or made from Australian products or packaged in Australia, you have to show where those processes are happening because different countries have varying levels of standards. Okay, to finish off, there are a bunch of clips attached from the checkout looking at product safety, product certification. You can look at those at your leisure. They will be attached. And that is the end of product recall. We now have only 2 more of our contemporary issues to go through and we're done with consumer law. Okay.
Bye.
So, Rayleigh, come say goodbye.
Bye.
Oh, wow.
Bye.
That's a different kind of Rayleigh goodbye. Bye.